Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is my third video on the channel, so hurrah to me. So in today's video I'm going to do something a little bit different. When I was uploading my YouTube videos to my account, I stumbled across something quite traumatic. And that was a smoky eye tutorial by none other than Carman herself from almost 8 years ago, teaching you how to create a brown smoky eye. I would like to preface to anyone who took that advice, I am sorry. Embarrassment aside, I do think that this may potentially be a little bit of a teachable moment, so I thought I'd do one of those reacting to my first videos. But what I'm going to do is recreate on this side what I did in that video and show you on this side kind of the different techniques that I've picked up over the years that have helped me go from this traumatic to what I would do as a current day makeup artist. So let's get into it. No more explain needed.
Oh well, hi there, me again. I only just realised that this video has copyright music in it, so I'll just explain. I said that I'm using a NAF eyeshadow primer to start.
Okay, I'm really pleased that I used a primer that I wouldn't recommend in that video. But what I used was a clear eyeshadow primer, which I wouldn't use nowadays. I like something that's almost a concealer or has a little bit of coverage to it. So it is going to help to get rid of any veins on the eyelid and really perfect the eye first. Now what I would go in and do is apply a concealer, or a lot of people use the P. Louise bases. Tap that in with my flat brush, and then just to make sure I haven't got any excess, I'll just pat out with a sponge.
Hi, me again. So at this point I felt it necessary to take a nude eyeshadow, put it all over my eyelid and up into my crease. Now if you ask me why, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so I quite frankly would never do this step in normal day, and I couldn't tell you why I did it back then. But I'm going to go in with my 35W palette from Morphe, just take a skin tone shade. I said that I just applied that on my lid. The reason I wouldn't do that now is that kind of acts as a mattifier for the product or the primer that I just put down. So it's counterproductive. I put something sticky on and now I've completely mattified it down. So I'm going to assume I was using that as some sort of transition shade. I wish I could get back in her brain because God knows what she was up to. I'm going to take a slightly warmer transition shade again from the 35W palette on a fluffier brush. This is the Morphe M433. And I'm going to apply this messily in the crease and sort of work it up towards the brow bone. The transition shade is to help other shadows blend into it. Really blending that out so that it's hardly there, but it just gives a little bit of a shadow that we can then start working the other shades into. Okay, what's next, you crazy lunatic?
It was at this stage in this tutorial where I decided that to apply a brown shimmer shade into what I then called my crease was the best idea, though this being the crease is questionable at best.
Oh, a shimmer shade in the crease? Okay, I might as well stick with this palette. Down here in the left hand corner we have a brown shimmer, so that's what I'm going to go in with my MAC 221. Now the main thing that I instantly recognised is that the way I angled my brush to put a colour in my crease was completely wrong. So in the video, my hand was around sort of my chin area and my brush was putting the colour into my crease like this. It's actually quite hard to do old techniques. I was going back and forward, which is naturally going to create a harsh line. And from the video, I didn't go in and use any other shade to kind of blend that out. So I'm just going to use the same motions that I did before in the video, which is just back and forward. Just blend it out a little bit. Okay, now on today's side, I'm going to take a completely different approach. Number one, I'm going to go in with a matte shade because I'm working in the crease here, so I don't want to emphasise these kind of folds. Matte shades send things back, highlight shades pull things forward. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of this orange shade with this kind of dark matte brown shade down here. Now I'm going to use the same brush, but my placement and technique are completely different. So to apply my crease shade, my hand is going to be right out here. I'm going to place it so that I have the most control. And also I'm not going to get as much eyeshadow on my lid like I do down here, and I'm going to have a far more precise application. And in small circles I'm just going to start working it in. First focusing on the outer corner, and then as the pigment starts to run out on my brush, that's when I'm going to start bringing it forward. Look down into your mirror again if you're not sure where your crease actually sits. Looking down will give you that shadow. So today's Emily knows that blending requires more than one brush and one colour. I'm just going to go in and take that warm orange shade on a fluffier Morphe M433 and I'm going to very lightly clip the edge of what I just popped down and go in circles just to blend out that edge to perfection. Oh, what's next? Bless you.
Okie dokie, so next up we're going in with a pearly white shade, and with a gentle jabbing motion I'm going to pop that in my inner corner, right there, and then a little bit beneath my brow as well. Lovely.
Okay, sis, that wasn't a bad tip. There's just a few more adaptations that I've made since this video that help kind of make those highlights really pop. So in that original video, I definitely used the wrong shape brush, but I'm just, for the sake of not dirtying another brush, I'm just going to use my pencil brush for both sides. So I took a dry brush and I just patted it in the corner of the eye. And then in what I call windscreen wiper motions, I put it underneath the brow bone like this. Nowadays, I'm going to wet that pencil brush and I'll use the exact same shade, and you'll see now how much more of a punch you can pack when you know how to use the product. Did you see that? That is the same colour, and it packs it's a completely different shade just from the technique that you're using. And then always I'm going to go in with my transition brush and a little bit of that warm orange shade, and just going to blend out in little circles to make sure that that is not overbearing and it's not caused any harsh lines. Oh baby girl, what's next?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I am hitting you with the black, taking an angled brush, literally writing a V on the side of my eye there, and look at the eyelids being harmed with the scratchiness.
Why? Why are you using black, young baby? Okay, sis. You tried. I appreciate that you tried. I'm just going to go in with the black shade in the palette to draw a V on my eye. And then I used the same brush. I didn't even like tap off any excess. And I blended it in like this. Now, this is one major thing that I noticed in that video as well, was the pressure I was applying when blending out the eyeshadows. That just doesn't happen anymore. It does not happen. Woohoo. Now, I did say that I went in with a blending brush afterwards and blended the colour out, but I did say that I went over the entire eyeshadow and blended out, so that's what I'm going to do. So I was getting less of a harsh line and I was blending, but like I said earlier, I put the whole brush through every single colour that I used, and obviously now the black is just going to overtake the look. Okay, so nowadays I probably steer clear of black as much as I possibly can. I just think that black has its time and its place in makeup. A black is for like definite lines for me, and obviously I don't like definite lines. I like blendiness. I like no harsh lines. I like it to be all quite just buffed out. But I will use black, but what I will do is mix it with a dark brown so that it can give me that kind of intensity that the black will give. But it's also going to tie in with the fact that this is a brown look. I don't want this to turn into a black smoky eye. And I am going to put this in my outer V, but I'm going to use a really small Morphe M124. I can't say numbers today. And I'm going to pat this colour into my outer V very softly, and I'm not going to apply much pigment at first because I'm going to gently build the pigment up so that I have the control over the intensity. I think it's quite obvious that the intensity had the control over me here, but we've learned to rein it in. Now that I've got that all on, I'm just going to take a little bit of brown on my MAC 221 brush, and like always I'm just going to really gently clip the edges and just blend out that edge.
Okay, so now I am, as the kids might say, winging it out, and yeah, it's definitely happening. I don't know how great it is, but it's happening.
Okay, I don't have that eyeliner anymore, but I do actually remember that being, I mean, pretty damn alright. And I do have a little IGTV video on how I apply my wing liner nowadays. It's going to be a little bit hard to replicate this, but what I noticed that I did in the video was I really pinched it in and made it really thin in the inner corner, and then it went a little bit too wide in the middle. And with the wing, I kind of cut too far into my eye. I mean, it's hard to do a wing liner how you wouldn't do it nowadays, because my instinct is to kind of fix that. So in today's look, I feel rather uncomfortable applying liner without having put on any lid shade at all. So I'm just going to go in and cut my crease and apply a lid shade. I will let you kind of see what I'm doing, but I'll just speed it up a little bit. I just look gross. So my focus with liner now is to try and get it an even line across the entire eye. So now in terms of placement of the wing, like I said, what I like to do now is look at where my lower lash line meets my upper lash line and kind of follow that up in a diagonal towards the tail of my brow. Kind of feather on. Oh, right, come on girl, you're killing me.
And as if our eyes couldn't look any smaller, I'm just going to grab a black eyeliner pencil, apply it to half of my lower lash line, and then do this weird little face and tight line as well.
Oh. Black eyeliner. I don't even own black eyeliner anymore because I'm really not a fan of it. So I'm just going to take my black eyeshadow and put it where I put it in the video, which was sort of halfway into my eye. And then I went in and tight lined with that as well, which means putting the liner in the waterline on the top of your eye. She did all this, me, I did all this without putting any eyeshadow underneath. And I would like to also say that I called this a brown smoky eye. Now, because I've put that black in and blended it out, tell me which part of this is brown. This was the intention, this was the reality at the time. But the reason I don't want to use black so much anymore is I've spent so much time trying to open my eyes up. I'm not about to put that black in and make my eyes look really small again. But what I can do is go in and apply a brown. You can use an eyeliner, but I just tend to prefer eyeshadow nowadays. And I'll use a nice warm brown. And then after doing that, I wouldn't just leave that underneath without any shadow. So I'll just take a little bit of the two browns that I used on top on another small little Morphe M124, that to add a little bit of shadow to the lower lash line. So by the looks of things, I didn't even wear mascara that day, but I know I would have done, so I'll just pop a little bit of mascara on. I know for a fact that back then I wouldn't have wore fake lashes, which is something Okay, because I've chosen to do a wing today, I've picked a lash that is longer on the outer edge because it kind of carries on that shape that we've been trying to make. So I'm just going to chuck these on and then I'll be back. Okay, and there we have it. Realistically, this probably took 5 to 10 more minutes longer than this side, and it just looks far better. I'll give you a little close-up of both sides. Okay, so that's this lovely situation. And then that side. Okay, so that was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do just want to say a quick disclaimer that if you are at this level, less than this level, more than this level, whatever the situation may be, makeup is a constantly changing industry. It changes day by day, let alone year by year. And if anything, I want you to take from this video that everyone can learn to do makeup if you put in the work and the patience and the time. Makeup isn't a natural thing. You're not born with the ability to do makeup, but if you put the time in and the work, then anyone can do it. And I mean, look, I come from this to this. I think we're getting somewhere. And maybe in 8 years' time, I'll make another one and I'll see how this looks so rubbish compared to whatever the trends or whatever the makeup inspiration may be in that day. Because realistically, a lot of the tips that I was trying to give, you know, blending out and defining the outer V back 8 years ago, are the same tips that I'm stormtroopering now. It's just that I've learned how to do them far better. And so yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. It would really help me out. And let me know anything that you would like to see from me up next. I do have an Instagram, so make sure to follow me over on Emily Carman MUA if you don't already. Thank you all so much for your time, and I will see you all soon. Bye.